Hello everyone, it's April 26, 2015, Sunday morning, and I'll be going to the Cherry Blossom Festival over at the Botanical Garden with the family today. Of course, I'm out walking the big guy. Everything's blossoming, as you can see, and it should be a wonderful day. I discovered a project in GitHub called Fontello as I was reviewing the Picnic CSS extremely lightweight CSS framework, and investigated how they were showing their little symbols on their buttons and menus, expecting to find Font Awesome, but instead finding Fontello. And it turns out that as more and more symbols are ending up in the free and open source world in fonts and SVG files, their very open sourciness and freeness, the license that they're under, allows them to be included in other font collections. And the significance here is that things like Font Awesome, even though they're incredibly easy to use and they require only one include file in your HTML code, load the entire set of hundreds of little graphics, little SVG glyphs. I guess not SVG, but structured graphics glyphs nonetheless, and add that much memory overhead to small, modest page loads, which tend to be the kinds of projects that want to use Font Awesome because they don't want to go hiring artists and designing their own artwork. They would just want to borrow some images from the free and open source world and have all the advantages of structured graphics in a font. Lots and lots of advantages and very few disadvantages. One of the disadvantages, by the way, is you don't get color fonts, or I should say multicolor. You can colorize them any color you want, but they're, you know, flat, two-dimensional symbols. But that's fine for most cases, especially user interface design where you're just giving something visual next to a otherwise text-only menu option or button option, which is how I'm using them. And what Fontello does is it takes the glyphs from whatever free and open source font collections you wish and creates a bundle or a package that you can put on your own project in your Git repository, for example. And when your project refers to those images, it's got the 2- or 3-fold advantage of, one, it's a much smaller thing it's loading. It's not all that memory. It's not all the hundreds of glyphs. It's just the ones you need. 2, it's doing it locally from the project location. So it's not an HTTP call out over the web to some content distribution network or GitHub itself. It's loading right from where all the other project resource files are loading. And let's see, other advantages. You can incorporate your own images in there. So I've got my Mike Levin reversible logo that I use a lot of places, and I probably would like to include that in this glyph set, in this little Fontello bundle. So there's a little bit of learning ahead of me, but it really does point out one of the great things about the Pipulate project, which it's not just some server-based database project creating another little island of data. I'm touching all kinds of things as appropriate for the data layer. I go to Google Docs to make the data useful right away, immediately as it's collected. For the user interface, I'm using a bookmarklet and a little pop-up window, leveraging all the power of the browser. And part of that power I now see I'll be leveraging is how browsers handle fonts, web fonts, so well these days, and it's a superb alternative to using graphics in a lot of cases, and the open source world has really stepped up with Fontello to optimize that process, both in terms of memory and speed to load and flexibility. So thanks for joining me. I'll be doing the research on Fontello and hopefully documenting that process on my sites. Don't forget to subscribe. Talk to you soon.